All right, welcome back, everybody, to our bi-weekly program of Hack Central, where we are a deeping diver into some computer science topics. And over the past couple of times when we've been here, we've done a lot of work with some machine learning algorithms. And today, we're going to be taking a little break from those machine learning algorithms and doing something a bit more fun. But nevertheless, we are glad that you are here and joining us, coming back as always, very glad to have you guys here. And without any further ado, let's get to it. All right, so let's get a quick preview of what we shall be doing today. That being that instead of doing another machine learning algorithm like in the past 3 months, we've done the linear regression algorithm, we've done the k nearest neighbor, the k means, but instead of focusing on an algorithm and discussing how it works, the mathematics behind it, I thought that today it'll be a good idea to take a break from all those serious concepts, and take a step back and look at something cool, which is what this Hack Central program is all about. You know, in our other programs such as Tech Bytes, in the Intro to Programming course, and our web development course, we generally are building a foundation and focusing on the fundamentals. However, through Hack Central, the goal is to not just come to learn, but also to have some fun. And today, I think that we will be having fun because we are doing something, working with something in the language of Python called PyAutoGui. Now, as a quick hint and a preview of what this entails, basically, we're going to look at how we can automate stuff with the language of Python. Now, if that gets your brain rolling, like thinking of what we can do, that's awesome, because in our Tech Bytes courses, we've discussed some ideas of what automation can do. But today, we'll be taking a deeper dive and looking how we can do something cool and automate some pretty cool stuff with the language of Python. All right. And if you guys don't already know who I am, guys, my name is Rayaan Siddiqi. I am a senior at James B. Clarn High School and online school, just like you guys. I have made multiple apps for the App Store, made a dozen different websites, and I'm now really looking towards the content creation side in the terms of writing articles about some computer science skills I've picked up, making some YouTube videos on a tech channel I run, and also just trying to spread the word of what we can do and the impact which we can make with computer science. And as always, if you are interested in what I've been working up to, the latest I've been working on, you can always visit my website at RayaanSiddiqi.com. And if you have not already participated or were a bit confused as to when I was saying what these other programs are about, well, we run 3 other programs here at the Schomburg Library. The first and main one being the Tech Bytes program, where we teach how to start coding and learning the fundamentals of programming languages such as Python and JavaScript. More specifically, every Monday from 3 to 4 p.m., we are running an Intro to Programming course where we are learning more and more about the language of Python. And this week, actually, we just started a new tic-tac-toe project in which we are using the skills we've learned over the past couple of months and just building out more and more cool projects. And also, we have a web development course where we are learning how to make our own web pages and web apps through the language of JavaScript. And that is also from 3 to 4 p.m. However, that's on Wednesday. Now, quick disclaimer, if this time does not work for you, we are shifting the time starting in the upcoming month of October. So these programs will be starting at 3:30, and you know now. So if you feel like that these times are a bit too tight, you weren't able to join us, you can always find the recorded versions, just like you can find Hack Central, on the Schomburg Library's YouTube channel in the Tech Bytes playlist. And as always, if you have any questions, you can always contact me through our Google Classroom. And yeah. And also, we have a second program of Team Trivia, which we do every other Friday, meaning it is a bi-weekly program, where we do a certain theme trivia. And then we have an online leaderboard keeping track of who is performing the best. So if you're interested in these, you can always sign up through the Schomburg Library's events page on their website. But now let's get down to today's topic and start diving deeper into what this idea of automation with the language of Python really means. Well, first we have to understand, what does the word automation even mean? Like, how about we dissect it, right? So the prefix auto, Well, the prefix auto means self. If you think about like an automobile, a self-moving car, right? With the help of gas and all that good stuff. Well, similarly, we're going to be talking about how to automate, meaning make the computer do something for us by itself with this idea of automation. So basically, guys, the idea that behind this word of automation is that we're going to be using our programming skills to make our lives easier by essentially telling the computer that, hey, we want you to perform this certain task without me telling you to. Now, this has many, many applications, ranging from using this idea of automation in conjunction with the machine learning algorithms we learned about, and you may have even see it in your homes. You see, automation technology, the way it's evolving so rapidly every day now, there are new things coming out each and every day, which is so cool to see. And you might have experienced automation in your personal home. So one of the best examples which I can think of is that say you have maybe a washing and a dryer machine. So say maybe you have like an LG company or a Samsung company, whatever company you might have. Nowadays, a lot of the washing and dryer machines, they have appliance controlling adapters, meaning they automatically run and detect when to run the washing machine and the drying machine when it detects that there is not a lot of water being used inside the house. Now, why is that helpful? Well, if we think about it, we want to, the way, well, okay, let me rephrase that. The reason why we want to make sure that we run our washing machine, dryer machine when there's not much water being used throughout the house is that one, not only does it decrease the energy bill and the water bill of our home, but also it's a smart technique. And how is this smart technique implemented though? Well, one of the cool things about this Hack Central is that we're always making connections. And the connection which I'm drawing to today is that this idea of automation and controlling your appliances uses machine learning to detect when is the best and optimal time to run your appliance. This in turn saves you money. However, initially it may cost a bit more. It's a bit more money and a bit more expensive because at the end of the day, these appliances are going to save your money. So say you head to your local Home Depot, you might notice that the Samsung smart jar or washing machine might initially be a bit more expensive. And you might have experienced a similar analogy to say you want to buy an electric car. Well, an electric car is pretty expensive. They're usually around that 40 to 50, 60, $70,000 mark, right? And although the price is, somewhat decreasing throughout the years, the reason why the prices of such automated technology is higher initially is because in the long run, looking over the span of 5 to 10 years, these products are going to save you money, which is why consequently they do end up costing a bit more initially. And also some other examples with this idea of automation of some device doing something by itself without some user input is the idea of time lights. So you might have a smart plug in your home, maybe it's controlled through an app, or maybe you and your parents have set it so that maybe from 6 to 8 p.m., you want the hallway light in front of your house to turn on at a certain time, like 6 to 8 p.m., right? And the way such is able to occur is through automation. You see, hopefully you start to realize that automation plays a very important role in our daily lives without us even realizing. Another example could be maybe you're sending an email. You see, Gmail recently released a feature in which you can schedule emails to be sent. And you can do this with many other emailing platforms as well. And how are you able to schedule a time? So it's like, say, I want to send Anna, who's also working in the library, I want to send her an email tomorrow at 12 p.m. Well, instead of me being logged into my email account at 12 p.m. and hitting send right there, what I can do is automate the process. So I'm going to click a button on the email platform and say, I want to schedule this email for tomorrow at 12 p.m. And surely enough, Anna hopefully should receive it at tomorrow 12 p.m. And more, that just goes to show us how automation is an important and very cool thing involved in our daily lives. And as always, guys, if you have any questions, connections which you want to make while we're going through our Hack Central, any of our programs, feel free to do so by commenting right here or commenting on our Google Classroom. I'd love to talk more about this stuff. All right. So with the foundation laid out of what this idea of automation is truly about, how about we discuss what we're going to be doing in conjunction with the language of Python and this idea of automation? How are we going to combine these two topics? Well, the way we're going to do that is through this library called PyAutoGui, short for Python AutoGui. Well, we've learned what libraries in Python are through our Intro to Programming course, and basically the purpose they serve is making our lives easier. Essentially, we can use an import to load up a library which has a bunch of pre-written functions and variables through which we can save the amount of time we need to do in order to write a specific piece of code. And more specifically, the library which we are going to be taking a look at today, that being PyAutoGui, is a library which allows us to automate stuff in terms of giving access to our computer, to our mouse and keyboard. Meaning the Python script which we are going to write today is going to allow for the computer to take control of our mouse and keyboard and perform certain actions with that. Now, what's the capability? What can this library do? Well, one of the coolest capabilities of this library is that it can play games, and it can identify where obstacles are, move your mouse in a certain way to move your character to avoid the obstacle. And actually, a very cool project which was made with this PyAutoGui website is that somebody used this library in order to beat the game of Run Dino. So if you ever play the game when your browser Chrome is down, you see that their dinosaur pops up. If you click the dinosaur, it's a game. It's like a temple run game in which you have to jump over obstacles. And somebody used the PyAutoGui library in order to detect whenever there was a obstacle. And then they would tell the script and write in the code that if object is detected, then I want you to take control of my keyboard and hit the space bar. And besides this, another cool thing which we can do with PyAutoGui is that we can identify pictures on the screen. So going back to that dinosaur game example, basically we can use this PyAutoGui library to identify where certain obstacles are on the screen. Then using that information, we can check where the coordinates of those are, and then tell our dinosaur to jump a certain height. And also, in the application which we will be taking a look at today is that we're going to be writing a script which will allow for our computer to automatically draw a picture of some sort on the screen. Now, there are a bunch more capabilities of what we can do with this idea of PyAutoGui. And other than having some fun, like we just talked about, it can also do some more boring stuff, but making your life easier. How can it do that? Well, firstly, one of the main applications of PyAutoGui is that it can fill out forms which require basic information. So like, you know how there's so many forms which you fill out every day, like maybe we're ordering something, maybe let's go with the example of ordering something. Say we're on the website of Amazon, you always, or Best Buy, wherever you're ordering from, you always have to enter some key fields like your name, your first name, your last name, your phone number, your address, your zip code. All of these are things that you always have to fill in. Well, using the library of PyAutoGui, you can identify where those fields are and automatically fill them. And something which you may have noticed is that your browser might already do this. So say you might have Chrome, you might have Safari, whatever the case, whatever browser and OS you are running, there is usually an option that once you fill out a certain field, the browser asks you, hey, do you want to save this information for a future time? And usually you click yes. And basically the code behind how that works is this library of PyAutoGui. And that goes to show how it's really relatable in our everyday lives. I mean, just think about how many times maybe you're logging into a website, maybe you're filling out a form just to order something, filling out a survey. It can be used very widely, to say the least. And that goes to our second point. We can use this library to type out responses. Literally, we can give our keyboard access, and basically hands-free, the keyboard can type stuff without us even telling it to. And lastly, we can also copy and paste information into different areas as well. All right, so now let's get to the fun part and create and go over our script, which we're going to run a real example of how this library actually works. And that being that we're going to draw a picture without me even having my hands on the computer. Now, if you don't believe me, don't worry. I'm going to make sure that my hands are nice and high so that you guys can see how we're going to automate a process of drawing a picture. So give me 1 minute while I load up my script. All right, so now that I have my coding platform open, and if you like to follow along, you're more than free to. Remember, if you're from our Tech Bytes course, there's always the website of REPL.it. This is an online environment where you can code in the language of Python. And yeah, if you want to follow along, you're more than welcome to. So in order to expedite the process and me not having to write every line of code, there's going to be some lines which I'm going to copy and paste, but some lines which I want to type out and go over. And firstly, remember, since this PyAutoGui is a library, we need to import it. So what I'm going to do is say import, and then PyAutoGui. And then I'm going to say import PyAutoGui. There we go. And then another library which I'm going to import is a library of time, like such. Now, why am I importing a library of time? Well, basically, I'm going to use this later on because when I click run on the script, I don't want it to immediately execute. I want it to wait a couple seconds when I have the whiteboard open and then start drawing. Now, with that done, what I'm going to do is, first of all, use our library. So I'm going to do PyAutoGui dot click. Now, basically, this does what you think it does. It is going to automate the process of our mouse clicking on the screen. So how can we see if it works? Well, I'm going to go down here, and the mouse should click after. And there we go. Our cursor did change, showing, oh, looks like the script just ran. And you can see that's me without even touching my hands. Looks like I have a separate script running. But hey, that's something cool. Looking at how my mouse is taking control of my screen. So if I run the right script now, and I put the sleep time of 2 seconds, basically what this does, it delays all the code below from running for 2 seconds. So it gives me a quick breather before the code runs. Now, if I hit run, we should see our mouse click in that area. And wait 1, 2. And voila, there we go. We just saw our mouse click. And it is also doing something else. Give it a quick minute to stop. All right, so with that done, now since we have shown how we can actually use this PyAutoGui library, how about I show you one more cool thing before we get to our actual project. So I'm going to do PyAutoGui dot drag our mouse. See, I do 0 to 100. Let's see what that does. Oh, missing some arguments. I have to put. These are some parameters which we have to enter in order to make sure that our program works correctly. And there we go. We just saw the mouse move by itself. Let's see another cool thing. What we can do is give our computer the access to our keyboard. So it's going to type something without me even typing it. Let's see how that works. So we're going to do PyAutoGui.typewrite. And I'm going to say, hello, everyone. Welcome to Hack Central. And let's see how this works. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to put my hands up. This is not me typing. The computer is going to automatically type. Look at that. That's so cool. I mean, even if that's not cool, you got to acknowledge that that's pretty awesome to see our computer automatically typing with us automating the process. Now, with those quick exercises being shown, how about we get to the actual script which we want to code? That being that we want to automate the process of drawing a picture of a square enclosing and enclosing, meaning the distance between each square becomes shorter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this block of code which I pre-wrote like such. And basically, to explain this line of code, we are going to be, if I open up the whiteboard, this is the basic idea of how our drawing will work. Right now, this is me drawing, by the way. What we're going to do is automate the process of drawing a picture like this of a square, which you can tell is getting shorter and shorter and smaller, like such. So that is going to be the basic idea and the script which we are writing today. If I head on over back to our Python script like such, that is what this whole while loop and these variables are going to do. We basically have a distance and then a change increment of how much, what factor we're going to be decreasing our square length by. And then I'm going to be using a while loop in order to make sure that it consecutively runs many times until no more distance, no more squares can be made. And then I am just using the command, which I was showing you a minute ago, about the drag command of the PyAutoGui library, which will essentially move our mouse from point A to point B. And then I'm going to decrease the distance by the increment and then move our mouse from point A to point B, making consecutive horizontal and vertical shifts in order to create that nice and solid square. So with that understanding down, and with, I'm going to increase the time which our script will take before running, just to make sure that I'm sharing my screen, everything is set up properly. I'll make this 10 seconds. So what I'm going to do is first hit run on this. So we got 10 seconds. Here we go. I'm going to go to share the whiteboard. Got, oh no, it's still there. Okay, got my pen selected. Hands up. Look at that. That is, I don't have my hands. I'm not pulling any David Blaine type of stunt right here. I'm no Harry Houdini. This is all programming, and the computer is automatically drawing that picture, which I tried to draw myself a minute ago. And as you guys can see, that the script has finished executing. So if I head on over back to our code, we can see that the process has finished, which tells us that there is no more picture being drawn. And let's just take a moment to appreciate how nice and solid that square looks. I mean, that's awesome. I could not, this is me drawing that same picture, all right? So yeah, and the reason why our script did stop is because it noticed that there was no more space to draw that square, meaning the difference between moving our mouse right and left, point A and point B, the distance was 0, so it did stop. And now if we want to automate this even further, how about we write a piece of code which will write a title for us. So what I'm going to do is head on over back to the whiteboard and just write right here, because picture by PyAutoGui. Give all the credit to the computer, right? And if you want to see that happen one more time, I'll run the script one more time in case you missed what happened. We got 10 seconds, hit run, stop the share, open the share for the whiteboard, use a different color so we can see how it works. I'll use yellow, hands off. Should be starting any second now, and there we go. Oh, looks like I was too much to the edge of my screen, so we can't see it working. But you can see how it's still making the smaller incremented squares inside of it until it detects that no more squares can be made. And that is pretty much our example and running our scenario with this awesome library of PyAutoGui. And as we finish this up, guys, and we talk about this cool idea, oh, you guys cannot see my screen. One second, that's weird. All right, there we go. So as we wrap up today's Hack Central, guys, it was definitely a bit more fun, I must say, than going over some machine learning algorithms, which are pretty cool, don't get me wrong. However, today it was just cool to see how we can use our programming language skills in order to automate some cool stuff and learn about the real world impact we can make. And before we end, just remember that all the knowledge which we deep dive into and learn about, remember to use it for the better. And as Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. So as we learn more and more about these new skills and these new libraries, what we can do with our coding skills, just remember, don't make anybody angry. Use it for the better. Show it off to your friends, family, but don't upset anybody, to say the least. But as always, guys, I hope you guys had a great time today and learned something interesting about the cool impact which we can have with the language of Python and its many libraries. As always, guys, take care, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you guys.